Here's the latest. Bidenomics is once again likely to be high on the agenda in the president's State of the Union address. The speech is a critical moment for Biden as he frames his pitch for the November election. The president planning to ramp up attacks on Donald Trump's economic agenda, circulating memos contrasting their agendas during this address. Annmarie is back with us down in Washington, D.C. AMH, just to pivot slightly, I thought we would be starved of debates. Based on what we heard from the former President Donald Trump in the last 24 hours, he's ready to debate President Biden anytime, any place, anywhere.
Well, that's what he says. Remember, the former president would not get on a Republican debate stage when it came to the primary. But now that Nikki Haley has said she is bowing out, he says he's ready to take on President Joe Biden in a debate. What's interesting, Jonathan, is that the Biden campaign basically said, well, you can see what the president has to say. Please tune in this evening to the State of the Union, but didn't say whether or not they would accept that debate challenge. And they said, let's see how this cycle persists. A lot of people are talking about, would we even see these two take a debate stage? Potentially we will. And the former president said he's ready for it.
What are people in D.C., where you are right now, saying about just how President Biden faces a much higher bar right now with the State of the Union and just in general, in terms of his delivery, in terms of his policy projections, in terms of, exactly every aspect of his performance?
Well, people are billing this as the most important speech he will give of his presidency, and potentially it could be his last State of the Union if he is ousted in November. And given the polls continuously show that Americans are very concerned about his age, our swing state poll shows 8 in 10 are concerned about his age. The bar is actually for him to just make sure there's no gaffes. He doesn't bumble. Remember, the pressure is on Biden, given that special counsel report that says he's a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. He needs to make sure this evening he pivots to a well-meaning elderly man with a strong memory and that he's robust. And for that conversation, we should bring in Tobin Marcus, head of policy and politics at Wolfe Research, who's been looking into this. Tobin, is this the bar for this evening, to just make sure that he comes out, that he can be an influential president up for the job at 81?
Yeah, certainly the thing that has gotten the most scrutiny is the question of performance. The delivery in last year's State of the Union, Jonathan just characterized as angry, but, I think we will see something very energetic. I mean, last year's State of the Union, for what it's worth, I think did go pretty well from a performance perspective. He famously got into sort of mixing it up with House Republicans on the question of entitlement cuts in the sort of early stages of the debt ceiling debate at the time. If they can manage to engineer another sort of organic moment like that showcases some nimbleness and energy and sort of quickness on his feet, I think that would be ideal for them. But short of that, I think just a crisp delivery that shows some energy and, to your point, sort of free of any notable flubs.